Oh, it's giving me a error. Oh, okay. So we're live, but Twitter's giving me some issues. So I'll fix that. Oh, here we go.
It
Okay,
says you're live on Twitter, so
okay. Yeah, it was telling me there was an error, but I clicked it again, so it
oh,
worked.
okay.
Yeah, so I guess it was some glitch. But what I was saying was we're starting. Well, welcome, hello. Uh, I know we were already like having a conversation, but
So,
yeah.
anyways,
So anyway, then the guy said no, but yeah, welcome, happy Saturday. Welcome back to another Super Galactic Saturday, and I'm here. I'm Jerry Senior with Jerry Junior,
good morning.
and good morning to you all. It's a okay day. It's a little, it's still a little chilly. There's overcast here in sunny Southern California. It's not so
Yeah,
sunny
that's
right
true.
now, but still, it's a beautiful day, and any day above ground is a good day, right? So,
Oh yeah,
so what I was saying that we were talking about before we actually went live about the Transformers comic from Image Comics, right?
yeah. I
And
believe the new series is from Image Comics.
yeah, it is. I'm looking at it now. I had to confirm because for some reason I was thinking it was like IGN or something, but I think. Yeah, I'm. I think that's probably a previous iteration. I haven't read the whole series. I have issue one here, but I haven't read it yet. But that there's a lot of violence and it's
Well, here's
it's
the cool thing
intense,
about
right?
the new Transformers comic. First off, I can't. I wish I could give a proper shout out, but we met one of the artists for the comic at WonderCon. A really cool dude.
Yeah, you telling
But
me that. That's right.
one of the things that I really appreciate about so far, I've only read the first issue, but Optimus. I mean, this Transformer story, I would say, is the story we should have gotten with the movies, and I say that because
And you're
yeah,
talking
it
about the
has.
Michael Bay movies, right?
Yeah, those are the only movies that are, or
Okay,
the
well,
modern movies
there
that
was
are.
one from the '80s, the Transformers.
Yeah, but
I just want to be clear. You're referring
that's
to
true. But
Michael
like,
Bay's movies
yeah,
specifically, not
I feel like most people when they bring up the transfer, they're bringing up they're talking about the Michael Bay movies.
okay. Well, I
They're not
just want to
really.
be clear because some people might think you're referring to the original animated movie, right? So
No, the original animated movie is great.
yeah. That's all. Yeah, I just
Um,
want to be clear because we're gonna be fighting if you them fighting words, son.
I say I started the second Cybertron war. Anyways, uh, yeah, no, it's because I say that because yeah, I mean, I'll admit, as a kid, I enjoyed like the first two movies.
Yeah,
Didn't really like the third one,
yeah,
but yeah, they're not. They don't. They hold up well in terms of like visual effects. One thing,
mhm.
you gotta give Michael Bay props for is, especially in the first two movies. I think even the third one is the way he combines practical effects with visual effects or graphic computer effects is what I meant to say. Because a lot
yeah.
of the stuff was actually practical effects. Obviously, not the cars transforming, but 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 like when the one of the cool, but like when they're driving through the rubble and stuff like that, a lot of
Yeah.
that's practical. One of my favorite shots from Transformers Three was when the building collapses and the soldiers are sliding on the building shooting. Like they build an actual broken building prop for that. They're actually like so it looks cool. It's awesome.
All
In
right.
terms of story, obviously
Yeah,
that's where most people have
that's a
their
different
gripes about. Yeah,
conversation.
that's a yeah. Um, and a lot of it has to do with the characterization of Optimus Prime, like the core of it, right? Um, you know, because as the movies continue, he becomes a lot, uh, I guess, edgier. So, just for the lack of a better word, like even the voice actor of Optimus Prime, he was like, they made me say lines that I really don't think Optimus Prime would actually say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he has his gripes about it. His issues. But Peter Cullen was his name. But this actually feels like Optimus Prime. One of my favorite scenes from the new comic, everybody loves to point out, is when he escapes Cybertron, right?
Mm-hmm.
He lands on Earth, and you know, he sees how beautiful it is, right? He's like, "Oh wow, this is amazing." And then he accidentally steps, like it's literally a scene out of the Iron Giant. Like he
Yeah,
accidentally he hears a crunch and he realizes he steps on an animal. It was a deer. And he was
yeah,
like, "Oh, oops, oh no!" Like he's sad.
yeah, yeah,
Like that was him realizing how fragile
yeah.
like
Right.
Earth
These
is,
these
right?
other these other life.
And they bring back Spike, right, from the animated series, right? So he meets Spike, and Spike's like, "Oh, don't worry, we don't. It was an accident, but Optimus Prime, he understands the value of life. So he's like, no, it's still my fault. You know what I mean? So he is deep regret. So
Yeah,
it's just a cool interaction between him and Spike.
yeah. And I remember someone posted about they commented about that after they initially read it, just giving their take. And that was one of the things he pointed out, which he just pointed out, was that scene where it shows the nature and character of Optimus Prime, and that he's displayed as a true honorable hero, right?
Yeah,
he's a true honorable character, and that's the net positive of this series, is that the Transformers are portrayed in a very authentic manner, where they stay true to the characters as we remember them, even from Gen 1, right?
yeah,
And that's exciting. I like that, especially if they're taking it to another level where there's more action, it's more intense. But I know there's been some criticisms regarding the violence, right? Like it is somewhat hyper violent, I guess, or
talking about the comics.
yeah, the comics.
I didn't
And
realize that was a point of criticism, but yeah, there's a moment where
yeah, I've seen
Optimus
comments. Yeah,
Prime rips off his own arm and beats another
yeah,
Decepticon with it.
yeah. That's what, yeah. It's like
It's like,
pretty,
oh,
and I know it's robots, so
yeah. But it
but
was awesome. I
it's
mean, I
still
thought it was cool.
that's pretty. Well, yeah, but you're an adult.
I mean,
That's,
yeah,
and that's I
yeah.
think that's part of it. That was I know I had a conversation with in the live stream before. Um, I think it was a couple weeks ago, and we talked about that, about sort of the I guess R-rated, more adult-oriented properties that are traditionally were and originally were made for a young audience, right? Because they were made to sell toys, right? They were made to sell toys and other merch to young people, and now they're being reimagined and rebooted, etc., for a more mature adult crowd, basically pandering to my generation, right, and even your generation to some
Sure, but
degree,
at the same
to
time,
adults, right? And I'm not saying that's necessarily terrible, right? It's not
mhm,
this unforgivable sin, right?
yeah,
But it is concerning, because then it's like, well, how are we supposed, like, look at it this way, like when you guys were young, right? You and your brother, right? I was like, you can't watch Ninja Scroll, right?
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
know
So,
you want to watch anime, right? You can watch Pokemon, right? But you
yeah,
cannot
no,
watch, I was like, it's just off limits,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's not made for, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and to be fair, Ninja Scroll was never a child, a kid property. My
Yeah,
my
but
point though is
kids
that
look at it,
I couldn't
cartoon.
share
Yeah,
that, my, appreciation of anime with you was limited, because a lot of the anime I was watching had adult themes, right? Even Appleseed was, you know, like I waited a good while before I was, hey, you can watch Appleseed, right? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because it wasn't for kids, right?
yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. But with something like Thundercats and GI Joe and of course Transformers, now there's an opportunity for a parent like me who has young kids to say, hey, kids, look, this is what I loved growing up as a kid, right? Hey, let's read this together. Or hey, you can read this. I love this. Wait till you find out about this character, whatever. It's like you can share that with your kids, knowing that it's for them, but it's
Hmm.
something you can still appreciate and participate in, as an adult, right? And but when we're getting into, you know, R-rated Transformers, right?
Here's the thing, I don't feel
That's
like the
where that can't
comics
happen. It
are.
really can't happen, right?
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, I don't feel like the thing is R rated. And I don't think it should be
Well,
a
yeah, I
problem
don't
because
think it's
A,
R-rated, but I'm just talking about the violence in general.
yeah, I
It's,
don't
it
think it
is
should be an
R.
issue because in the original, was it 1984, 85 Transformers movies, all of the original Transformers lineups dies.
This is true, and that was a big deal then, right?
Yeah,
When I saw the scene where they were like shooting jazz and all that, and I was like, "What is
like
happening?" Like, and then
Optimus
Optimus
Prime is
Prime
the
himself,
first. Yeah, he's
that was
dead.
huge, man. But
Yeah,
at the time, you gotta realize, we were a little older by that time, right?
sure, but
And
nobody
but
expected it
yeah,
though.
nobody expected. I
And
agree,
and
and that's
that movie was still for kids though. And then
well,
two,
yeah, it was.
it was,
It
it
was for older
was
older kids for sure. Yeah.
right. But that's the thing. It's like Transformers has always has always appealed to older kids, right?
Well,
Either
not
middle,
necessarily though. Not originally. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but like there's never been a point where it had like even like the we go back to the Bay movies, like even Michael Bay himself is like, yeah, these movies are for like 13 to teenagers, right? It's just
Yeah,
it's
and the same
guns
has
and
been said about Star Wars, right?
yeah,
That it was kind of was to be, and I'll be honest, even if it came out of the mouth of George Lucas, and I believe it did at some point, I call uh, BS. In other words, I don't believe you know Star Wars was made for kids, right? I don't believe,
no, I don't believe
and
that.
even the Transformers the movie, I think they went in full well knowing the audience for this has grown up a little bit. They're older, right?
Sure,
Because
but
the original was it appealed to 9 and 10 year olds, right?
yeah,
So those 9 and 10 year olds, by the time the movie came out, were 12 and 13, and
13.
so right. You understand? So we're like, we got to make it a little more edgy to for
Yeah.
these older
All,
kids.
all, all I'm saying is a 12 or 13-year-old could still read the new comics, in my
Well,
opinion.
yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, it's mainly violence. It's not necessarily anything
Yeah,
hyper violent,
there's no like,
grotesque.
yeah, there's not that. There's
Outside
no
of the ripping the
unnecessarily,
arm off,
yeah.
that's pretty extreme. But
Well, his arm got
but
messed up
they
to
are
begin.
robots, so
Yeah,
like, and that's the thing. You can kind of get away with it a little bit because they're not human beings, right? They're not
hmm,
organic beings, so there's no guts. There's no it's oil leaks and sparks, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a little bit of leeway with it. I don't find it incredibly problematic, but I think what what I find problematic is the idea that it has to be more gritty and violent, or more adult oriented, when it really doesn't, right? It can still uh, champion the original series in the sense of the tone and everything without it being overly, you know especially if you get into like things that are just kind of you know pretty hyperbolic, right? Like I said, the ripping of the arm.
I guess, like I
you
said,
know
I feel like the I don't know. I feel like it's nothing new to the Transformers series, and like I said, I feel like it does a better job of respecting the characters more so
Yeah,
than
that I've
other.
heard, and that I like. That's
Yeah, like
that's a huge,
there's another
huge
moment where
positive.
uh like where Optimus Prime refuses to get, because they're all they're in a war, they're all busted at this point, and
Yeah,
Optimus Prime he refuses to get repaired until his whole team gets repaired, right? He's
yeah, and I like that.
he's an actual
Yeah,
he's an actual leader in this. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I say that like you know we don't just have the movies to fall back on. The TV, a lot of some of the recent TV shows have been pretty good with the Transformers. Like I like Transformers Prime.
Prime. Yeah,
That was
I've
really
heard a lot
cool.
of good things about that.
Yeah, so we have we've had good stuff. It's just most regular people, when they think Transformers, they think the Michael Bay movies. So
Well, yeah, and that's understandable, especially because we got like what 5 or 6 of them.
it's like
Seven
six
actually,
movies.
right? I think it's seven in total
Well,
because we
there's
got
one, two, three.
Bumblebee,
Then there's the two Mark Wahlberg movies,
right?
and then
That's 4.
well, no, there's one, two, and three. Then there's the
Oh yeah,
two.
yeah. So that's 5, right? And then
There's two.
there's the
That's five.
Beast War one, the
Then there's
Beast.
Beast Wars.
That's
So that's
6,
six. Yeah.
and Bumblebee, that's 7.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. All right.
So, and then I think they're supposed to be doing another one, aren't they?
Well, they're trying to
Crossover with
create the
Transformers.
Hasbro
Yeah, the
verse
Hasbro verse. Which
with
look,
the
I'm
GI
not mad
Joe.
at Hasbro for that. That's fine. They should have did it a long time ago, honestly.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but yeah, yeah, that's my and like I said, I haven't read the whole series. I'm just going by what I've been told and conversations I've had. That it is and I understand it's made to appeal to a more mature audience to some degree, right? And that's fine. Um, I just hope it doesn't go too far, right? Um,
That's fair.
because even the movie, like I'm looking it up, and it was rated PG, right? So
Oh, which movie?
the Transformers movie, the '86
The
one,
'80s movie.
yeah. So
That's true.
yeah, that's a step up. And honestly, even the series was pretty much PG. I mean, the movie was definitely a whole other level. So the actual animated series was probably just slightly because they had laser weapons like guns and they were blasting each other,
I
but
guess. Yeah.
nobody died, right? Nobody
Yeah.
died. No limbs were like chopped off and all this
Yeah. I'm
stuff.
about to say. I feel like the. I guess because the '80s, the standard for PG was different. But I feel like Megatron kidnapping the White House or and the Lincoln Memorial is not as PG as Optimus Prime getting shot in the heart and and Omega Supreme getting eaten by
Yeah,
junk
yeah,
robot.
yeah. Right. Yeah, that's definitely. It's like I said, it definitely was another level, and
and heavy metal in the back with heavy metal
well, the heavy
music in the
metal. I don't
background.
know. That's neither here nor there.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Heavy metal works pretty much works anywhere,
I'm just kidding.
especially action movies, man. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
have some heavy metal. So when we do our animation, we're gonna have some heavy metal.
Oh boy. Oh jeez.
I'm just saying, man. You got to get people pumped, and that does it. But yeah, so I'm hearing good things. So I'm gonna check it out. I got issue 1, so I'm gonna read it. I just haven't taken the time to read it because I've been very busy.
Oh
But
yeah.
it looks beautiful. The cover is like this sort of I don't even know, like a foil, yeah, foil cover. It has this nice like glossiness. So, but you can't tell me who signed it though, because I can't read the signature. But somebody signed it.
Oh.
So, which is
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't know if it's. Hey, I can't tell. Hey, I don't. I can't tell what this is. Who it is? I'm trying to guess based on the credits, but I have no idea because it doesn't look like you know. I can't tell what letters these are.
Yeah,
So.
that's the.
But it's signed, so maybe at some point I'll figure it out,
I'm
or you
trying
guys
to. I'm
can
trying to
remember.
look it up real fast, but I can't find it. Whoever you are, no, I'm just kept kidding. No,
Well, I'm just talking about the signature. I don't know who signed it. You guys had the artist sign it, but he's one of the cover artists.
yeah. Was it? Let's see the cover art. Do you have the one with Optimus Prime uh, holding the gun?
Yeah, uh-huh.
So the cover artist was Daniel Warren Johnson.
That don't look like the Daniel Warren Johnson signature.
That's what it says on. I'm looking on the website.
Okay, well, you sure? Well, yeah, but was it the cover artist that signed it or the interior artist?
It says writer Daniel Warren Johnson, artist Mike Spicer.
So maybe it was Mike
and
Spicer.
cover
Although
art.
I still don't see that. See how
Yeah.
that could be. So yeah, I'm at a loss. But hey, it's signed, so I'm gonna take care of it. And one day we'll interpret the hieroglyphs here and figure out who's got
Yeah.
ancient mysteries. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry
thanks
about
for
that.
that. No, it's all right. I appreciate getting the book. I'm a big fan of Transformers, so this is awesome. And like I said, I've been hearing great things, so I'm kind of excited to get the rest of it and check it out for myself. And yeah. So, but yeah, man, I'm with you. It sounds great. I've heard nothing but good things. That's the only, you know, criticism, right? And it's fair, but at the same time, you know, and I think I made this point in the when I did the live stream a couple of weeks ago, was that it's money, right? Like they know they're appealing to an older audience, especially fans who grew up watching, like me, who grew up watching it. You know, either as the first run or in syndication, right? Because
Yeah.
it was and then there's so many iterations as well since then, all throughout the '90s, right? So and even the early 2000s, and even now, I think there's still a current Transformers. It's made for kids, animated series, right? So
Yeah.
there's several generations of fans. Many of them are older, are adults. So they're like, let's appeal to that, you know, because they know that's who's buying comics too. Because a lot of the thinking in the comic space, in the mainstream space, is that kids aren't buying comics, adults are buying comics, right? So that's the other thing that kind of drives that desire to sort of say, hey, let's kind of adult it up, right?
Right.
Let's
Right.
go a little darker, let's get a little more mature, because they know adults who are, like I said, who grew up as fans, right? They're going to be looking to this, and on top of that, there's a lot of crossover with actual comic book fans, like hardcore, right? That they were also fans of not just of the series, but even the original comic series, right? That was accompanied that, right? So
Right.
so there's a lot. There's a rich sort of a rich pool to kind of pull from, that they can draw from and go, look, let's like knock this out. Let's appeal to them. Let's give them what they're asking for. And it sounds like that's what they did, right? Insofar as the story and the portrayals of the Transformers, right? And you know, I'm not mad at them. I just hope it doesn't become this, like we saw with a lot of other things, like Superman, with the Man of Steel movie. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that whole Christopher Nolan Batman, that
No,
like
it
everybody
doesn't
thought,
feel
oh,
like that.
people love dark, so let's make everything dark, right?
No, it doesn't. It
So
doesn't feel like that because, like I said, Optimus Prime is still Optimus Prime
yeah, and that's what makes me go, okay,
because he's the
you know,
core. You know, he's
yeah,
the
yeah,
core.
and that's you get him right, you're okay, you know, um, you're heading the right direction, and
Hmm.
that's kind of one of my criticisms in the movie is with the Michael Bay movies is
Yeah,
they they try, I give them
Optimus Prime,
they
more
just
like
it was
Optimus War Crimes.
yeah, it was just especially the last
You're
one, the what was it, Beast,
talking about. Well, I
uh
don't know about Beast Wars.
Rise of the
I never
Beast or
watched Beast
something like that.
Wars. All I remember is Transformers 3. Optimus Prime technically committed a lot of war crimes. No, Optimus! I don't know if you remember that, where he like kills
Yeah,
Sentinel Prime. Yeah,
I do remember that. Yeah,
that
it
was
was
crazy.
yeah, that was kind of like, what are they doing? So, but like I said, even the last one, he was all jaded and cynical, bitter, angry with humans. They were like fugitives for some reason. I'm like, this none of this
I
makes
know they
any
keep
sense.
making them fugitives. It's like, didn't they
Why?
save the world?
Right. It makes no sense at all.
Like,
It's like,
yeah,
what? So yeah, that movie. I don't even want to get it. We can talk about that another time.
yeah, no,
Maybe we can do a stream where we watch clips or something. I don't know, but 'cause I don't know about the copyright. But it's like it's such an awful movie. But at the same time, as with a lot of awful movies, it had the potential to be good if they
yeah,
just made these simple tweaks to the characters, either with casting or just with the way the character, what drives the character, right? Like their motivations. And instead, they just, they went with the quote unquote the message. They had to get that in there, and it just it just falls apart. It's like this is it's like you don't care about any of the characters. I wanted to care about the lead. Um, he was okay. Like he's actually a decent actor. Um, but it,
Oh, you talking about the dude who kept saying Brooklyn, baby?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Okay,
was just like, yeah, Rise of the Beast. That's what I'm trying to remember the movie. It's the last one. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It could have been good, especially having the beasts. The Transformers, the Beast Wars Transformers. That was cool. Like I kind of wish they would have just made their own movie. This is what I wish they would do. Just mirror the television series and just make a big budget CGI animated, you know, like the latest one, right? They have one. I just saw the trailer um, for the Transformers movie.
yeah.
It's a CGI movie.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it's like the origins
Interesting.
of Optimus Prime and Megatron, right? And it starts them off as being buddies or whatever, kind of low on the totem pole of society, and somehow they rise to become bigger
Here we go.
leaders. Right?
So I found the artist that his name's Ryan Berry.
Oh, Ryan Berry. Okay,
Yeah. Now I don't think he did that cover, but
is he the interior
he
artist
did.
or inks?
Well,
Covers?
he did one of the alt covers.
Oh, okay, but not this cover.
No, no.
So then, so that's probably not him. Why would you sign a book you didn't work on? Would you sign the book that you know? We'll see. One day we'll solve this mystery. So we'll figure it out.
But yeah, I just know because I recognize his.
So you think
Well,
it's
actually,
so
is it? Oh wait, is it?
what?
Because I said the cover with the gun. There's like Optimus Prime's always holding a gun.
Which cover was it? Okay, see, I only have the
Is it
one in
the?
front of me here, so
Is it the? Is there a jet plane
it's
flying in the background?
yeah, it's
Okay,
Optimus
that is his
Prime.
cover. Yay, that is his cover. Yeah,
What was the name again?
Ryan Berry.
Ryan Berry. Okay, I can kind of see that now. It's like a RD. All right, awesome. Now we
Mystery
know.
solved.
Now we know, and knowing is
Sorry,
half the
Ryan,
battle.
and
That's
thank
another.
you.
That's another TV show.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ryan
check out
Berry, for
Ryan Berry.
citing it. I appreciate it. It's really cool. So,
Yeah,
um, that's awesome. I'm gonna make sure I keep it nice and in that plastic.
yeah, and do check out his work. He does some other cool uh, sci-fi art. He
Cool.
does really cool stuff for video game like fan art as well. So he's
Awesome.
awesome. I really like his stuff.
Cool. All right, I'll check it out. But yeah, what's the I'm trying to remember the name of the latest Transformers animation. Um,
Um, you mean the movie?
yeah, it's Transformers One or
They're
something
making
like that.
another one?
Yeah, you haven't seen the trailer?
No.
Yep, they're making another. Like I said, it's the origins of Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Oh, interesting.
So they're actually um, buddies, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're I guess they get into some adventure. It's kind of weird.
Oh, is it this Transformers One? Oh, I have seen
Yeah,
this.
Transformers One. I think that's
I
it.
just I just kind of forgot it existed.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
weird
saw it.
because they
Yeah.
I guess it insinuates that they couldn't transform at first, and then they were bestowed with some kind of seemingly magical power, I guess,
Oh,
and they have the ability to transform. So um, I was like, okay, I didn't know exactly how that. I don't even remember from the original series, like if they ever explained that or not. I
I'm
think
pretty
they may
sure
have.
they always were able to transform.
No,
Obviously, they didn't.
actually, no, I don't think so. There was like I remember vaguely that there was a time before, like they, they did like a flashback where they didn't. I don't think they. I think they were just robots. But I don't know. I'm trying to remember like what episode it was. And then like, and even then, I think maybe they did transform, but they didn't transform in obviously into Earth vehicles. They transformed into these kind of space, futuristic vehicles. But yeah, I would have to like look that up and like research. But that kind of seemed kind of okay because the way they portray it's like there's this wizard robot and he's like, I bestowed you, but whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Like I don't understand why they would like. What's the benefit of transforming if you're already on Cybertron and like, you know what I mean? Like you would think that would just be kind of like, yeah, I'm
Right,
gonna
but
transform.
you
Like,
could assume that they didn't transform into people cars. They transformed into
no, they
whatever.
transform into the scene shows them transforming into a vehicle. So
Uh,
I guess,
you mean in the movie
yeah. Well, in the
or the
trailer, I haven't
trailer?
watched the
Oh,
movie.
okay, that's weird.
I'm just saying, like it's like Bumblebee origin. It's all like who they were before they
Right, right.
became what they are now.
Okay.
Right? See, and there's a scene where he just this wizard guy, right? And I'm
Oh,
just like, oh,
we got more wizards.
yeah. It's like, oh, so this is how you become a
I'm excited.
transformer. Somebody has to bestow a power, like so. It's like this special ability, I guess. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like I guess it's
Yeah.
not typical or so. I don't know. So I mean, I have to watch the movie, but that kind of threw me off. Like, oh, okay. I thought it was just some kind of like upgrade. Like you just go into a machine and it kind of just rearranges your parts and makes you a transformer. I don't know,
Oh, is it
but
this
whatever.
triangular guy? I'm looking
Yeah,
at the trailer.
yeah. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Apparently, Chris Hemsworth is a voice actor. I guess he's the voice actor of what, probably Optimus or probably Megatron. I wouldn't be surprised.
Megatron would make more sense.
And this other guy, I'll be honest, Brian Tyree Henry, I've never heard of him. I have no idea who that is. So maybe he's been in some TV shows or you know was I mean, well, let's
The animation
yeah,
looks
I don't
okay.
recognize him. So I was going to say, was he the guy that was in um,
Who? Which one?
no, the Brian Tyree Henry, um, and what was it called? The Marvel movie about the Eternals.
Oh no, Chris Hemmingsworth is Optimus Prime.
Okay, he's
Um,
Optimus Prime. Okay, that's what I kind of expected.
Tyree Henry. He's the podcast loser from Godzilla X Kong.
Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, he looks different in the trailer. They had like a little intro because his hair is like
Oh, okay.
long to the
But
side.
yeah,
He doesn't look the
he
same.
was the
Okay.
nerd from
Yeah,
Godzilla X
yeah,
Kong.
yeah. Okay. I mean, he's okay. I haven't seen him in any kind of big parts, so I don't know. Like,
Yeah, me neither. I just know him
yeah,
from
I only know him
he
from
was just the
the
podcast nerd from
yeah,
the
from the
Godzilla
Godzilla
movies,
movies. Okay. I mean,
the
you can tell
conspiracy.
he's probably a funny guy, but he hasn't had enough like screen time,
Yeah. Well, I
or
don't.
good writing to be perfectly honest. So.
I
I'm just saying, Godzilla movie. He hasn't had like
mean,
stellar opportunity to
he's
shine.
a
So
human in a Godzilla movie. Yeah.
yeah. So, but he seems like he would be funny if he had better material. Like,
Yeah,
that's my
that's true.
impression of him. So, but all right, so that's cool. So he's Megatron. He's doing
Yeah,
Megatron's. Okay,
but that's the thing is Megatron still has to be threatening. So I don't know.
well, I mean, maybe he's a experienced voice actor.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, because the trailer it sounds good, like so
Okay.
he's definitely doing a good job. And then Scarlett Johansson is also in it, and I guess she's RC or whatever, or the female
Oh, yeah.
Transformer.
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
if it's RC specifically. I'm thinking it is. But
Well,
it's very
it says
popular.
listed as Alita 1, which I don't know what that
Oh,
means.
Alita one. Okay, so that's not.
Yeah, and Keegan Michael Key is Bumblebee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Because
Cool.
he's funny. Like
Yeah, I like Keegan, but
I don't picture Bumblebee being
yeah.
funny, So especially in the Michael Bay version, I really didn't like Bumblebee.
Um,
I liked him
Michael.
less than Optimus Prime because I'm like, that's not Bumblebee. That's like just some goofy robot.
Well,
Although I've
he
heard the
also,
Bumblebee movie was better.
it
I,
was.
I
It
guess so.
was.
I couldn't get past the first act, so I didn't finish watching.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I
I was
like.
watching it. I was
I would
like,
say
I don't like
Bumblebee.
this.
And I know it's not saying a lot. It's the best out of the modern Transformers
Listen,
movies,
the best
which
part
isn't
of that
saying a lot.
movie is the beginning
I mean,
because
yeah,
they're on
yeah.
Cybertron, they're fighting.
Hmm.
You see all your favorite Transformers doing Transformer stuff.
Yeah, we go
It's epic,
from
and I'm
we're
like,
on
this should be the
Cybertron.
whole movie.
You're right. So we go from we're on Cybertron to Herbie 2. I don't know.
Right,
Herbie.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I can't. This is like what?
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't get it. I wasn't feeling it. A lot of people say it was good. I think people say it's good because compared to the other Michael Bay movies, it's not as
Yeah,
bad.
it's better, but yeah,
Right, and that's not good. That just means it's not as bad. It's like spinach is not as bad as Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean? Like,
oh
which one
man,
would you rather have, Brussels sprouts or spinach? I'll eat the spinach. It's not as bad, right? But you rather not have either one, right? You rather have a, you know, cheesecake, right?
yeah, fair enough.
you don't want it at all, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of how. That's why, like for me, I'm like, whatever. It just there wasn't enough happening in that first act to make me care, so
hmm
I just didn't finish it. So I was like, let me
no,
watch
I mean,
something.
I understand that
Yeah. So I mean, but it's nice that it was better, and I think what made it, and that's what made me excited about
because to be
watching it,
fair, I
was that
feel
opening scene, that
yeah,
that whole sequence on Cybertron. I was like, okay, if we're
yeah,
gonna get more of this, I'm down. Like this is what I signed up for.
yeah.
Like, this is it.
No, to be fair, the same way you feel about the Bumblebee movie is the same way I felt about the Knuckles series on Paramount Plus, where is
I actually watched 2 episodes of that.
you did.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's dumb.
It's
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Knuckles is great. I think Knuckles was the best part of the show,
yeah,
but
that's
everything
exactly right.
else was
That's
lame.
exactly right. Knuckles is awesome,
Yeah, like he
but
was always like, "Are you gonna help him?" No, he has to learn how to fend for himself while he's drinking his coffee. Like he's
yeah, it
awesome,
just
but
yeah,
it's
he
just like
is.
because the thing
Listen,
is
Idris
they
Elba
keep
voicing Knuckles is brilliance.
well,
He
well
does a
it's not just
great job.
the voice, it's the characterization as well. Like the
That's what I
way
mean. He's doing a great job portraying like it's very believable. You feel like
yeah,
that works,
yeah,
and but it's just the show itself, the writing, it's just awful.
yeah, because it's like we're
It's not good.
following this schmuck that nobody. I don't care about him. I don't care about his
Exactly.
bowling.
I
I want to
honestly
learn more.
didn't
Here's the
understand
thing: the
who he
most
was.
badass trivia the most badass trivia about Knuckles got revealed, and it's crazy. 'Cause, I mean, you don't know because you obviously didn't play the games,
Yeah.
but they did the craziest retcon to Knuckles in a show tune sequence where the dude's hallucinating that he's Knuckles in like a dumb musical, and it's the wildest thing ever. But you would never know because they revealed it in this dumb musical. Because apparently in the movie universe, Knuckles is the one that single-handedly defeats the Iblis trigger. And if you don't know what that is, that's fine. He
Yeah, I
was the
don't.
main bad
I'm
guy
not
from
a video game
Sonic
aficionado.
'06. Yeah, but it's just like it's just they did such a wild like lore decision, and they just revealed it in like the dumbest scene ever in the show. So
Yeah, I haven't even gotten that far. I've only watched 2 episodes, so and I'm
okay,
already like,
well, you're
I'm
not
not.
missing out on much. Like I said, I don't hate it, but it's also like I I'm not gonna watch this ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see that guy
Like
right
I
here.
don't. Yeah, I
It's
don't.
like, who is that? I didn't know who he was. I don't remember
Yeah,
him from the
because he was
movies.
just a background character.
Yeah,
He was a C character in the
I'm like,
Sonic 2
who is
movies.
this dude? Like, why are we supposed to care about him?
It's
You
like
know,
I don't know. It just
it's
feels
like,
like
yeah,
they want to make. It's like, well, we don't want to make it about the character. We want to make
yeah,
it
yeah,
about the human actor. It just feels like a I don't know.
yeah.
It feels
I
like
don't know.
I don't want to sound like me, but it just feels like a arrogance thing. It's like, yeah, we know the fans care
See,
about Knuckles, but we
this is
care
what
about
we care about Knuckles.
yeah,
We don't care about this guy. I don't care if he
yeah,
does turn out to be a awesome, you know,
yeah. The show is called
warrior or
Knuckles.
whatever. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I want to see this guy and Sonic and Tails and maybe another character from the universe, right? From the
Yeah,
canon, right? Have an
hmm
adventure. That's it. It's just like the monster movies, right? I don't care about the human struggle. Yeah, I just care about watching monsters, you know, punch each other and bang bang pew pew from the military movie, right? That's it.
yeah,
Like, and it's like it's kind of like with this series. Why are you guys making this series when you've already had 2 successful movies, right? And they were good. They were, especially the second one. I think the second one was better than the first movie.
it
You
was,
know,
yeah, absolutely,
and so I'm like, okay, so they're getting progressively better, and then they throw this out, and it's like, what? I'm just like
yeah,
confused. Like, whose idea was this? Why do we care? I don't care about this
yeah.
guy.
They also,
It's,
they did a lot of
it makes more
crazy,
sense for him to be paired with James Marsden, right? Just like they did with the first movie, but now it's just him and Knuckles, and they
right?
have to like connect, and that would make more sense, right? At
Yeah,
least we already know who James Marsden is and his character, and he's likable, So it's like, what if it is him turning him into some kind of warrior because maybe he doubts himself? I don't know,
well,
but
no, I don't.
it doesn't
No,
have to be that.
it should
It's
be an
just
arc for Knuckles. Knuckles
yeah, it
doesn't
should
really
be
have,
right. It needs to be about Knuckles, and I don't
yeah,
know. Yeah, I don't understand the point of this show. Um, it would be funny if they played it differently, where it was just about them two, but it was about like kind of parks and recreation format. Like it's this reality show crew, and they're following them around in a day in the life, and it happens to include them in
hmm
their misadventure. But then it's also Sonic and it's Tails and it's the couple, right? And the cameras are just and they're commenting. That would be hilarious if they did that. If you know what I mean, like the Office or Parks
yeah,
and Rec, right? Where it's just we're because by this time they've saved the world twice, right? So it
right,
makes sense that there's this exposure and there's a little bit of fame, and so it's like, oh, let's do a reality show and let's follow you around. That I think that would be more fun because it doesn't have to be taken seriously. It could just be just a
hmm
lot of gags and just fun,
yeah,
and that's it. Then you just you can even lead it up to the next movie, right? Somehow in the last episode of the season, have some big thing happen, right? And then you resolve it in the third movie, right? That would be, like that's it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't be doing this stuff. Like this makes no sense because it's like while Knuckles in this context is a supporting character, he's he's being paired with another supporting character that no one cares about.
Yeah,
It's like we care about Knuckles, we don't care about this other guy.
yeah. I don't even
Yeah,
remember his name.
yeah, I don't either. I have no. It's Wade. Yeah, Wade. So I don't. It's like I don't care about Wade. He wasn't interesting in the first two movies. Why would he be interesting in a show, a weekly show, whatever? Yeah, it doesn't. And it's streaming. It's like, why are you even doing a series? Why don't you just do a movie and just release it direct to streaming? If you don't, you know what I mean. Like, if you don't want to
Hmm.
put it in theaters because you don't think it'll do well or well enough, then just do direct to streaming and just do a movie. Like, doing a series makes no sense unless you're doing a series on Sonic and Knuckles and Tails. You know what I mean? Like, it's a series surrounding all those main characters having adventures on Earth, right, or elsewhere, right? But yeah, this makes no sense. And it's bad. Like, there's very few funny moments, not enough to keep me interested. So
Yeah,
after the second episode, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of checked out. It's really not interesting.
because it
It
stops
feels very
being about
forced.
Knuckles. It's all about.
Yeah, but not only that, but it just feels forced. And you're right, it's all about this guy. And like, there's a scene after he rescues, and this is the thing. This scene is misplaced, in my opinion, where Knuckles gets kidnapped. He got, spoiler alert, in case but he gets kidnapped and he's trapped in this giant mansion. The guy tracks it
Oh
down. They
yeah,
don't show how he tracks him down. They just show him pull up in his car.
that's
He
right. Yeah,
just magically figured out where Knuckles was. And he breaks in, literally, right? He fights this one guy who, doesn't look like a henchman type, right? He's just sleek, handsome. He even said it in the movie, which is hilarious. He looks like a men's catalog model, right?
yeah,
But he luckily defeats him, right, in the stupidest way possible, and he actually rescues Knuckles, right? He blows up the cage, and somehow magically everyone else is knocked out, all the other humans. Knuckles is still there, which I'm like, okay, Knuckles he's pretty
oh
strong, he's
yeah. And
tough,
then
but
Wade is
then Wade is still
alive.
there and he's alive, unscathed. I'm like,
Yeah,
what? Like, this is stupid. Like,
so
and then
dumb.
they run, and I'm like, what are they running for? They literally defeated these people. They blew them up. You should be, if they're alive, you should, strap them up, smack them around, and say, why are you trying to, kidnap you? Who hired you? But they don't. They just leave. and
Yeah,
they and they go get food, and then it's all about Wade. It's like he's like telling, "Oh, you're a warrior, Wade, and you're this, you're that," and I'm thinking this should be the final scene, not uh, the second episode.
yeah. I mean, it shouldn't have
It makes
happened,
no
but
sense.
yeah, whatever.
It's like, isn't this what he's trying to become? He just literally just did it. Like, he was brave. He conquered enemies that were more powerful than he is, right? And he was victorious, even though there was a lot of luck involved. And like, it's, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, no,
So
it doesn't.
yeah, it's disappointing, to put it nicely. So,
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot more disappointing things out there, like the Lion. You ever wanted a Lion King prequel?
the who? Oh,
I said,
that's the other thing. Yeah, the Mufasa.
if you ever
Uh,
wanted to know where Mufasa came from,
no,
no,
it literally never crossed my mind, ever. I
no, you
never,
mean no regular person ever thought about?
ever, it never. I honestly, and even now, after I see that there's a
I'm
trailer, and I saw the
I'm
trailer,
gonna be
I
honest.
still don't care.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought this was a joke, and I forgot it existed.
I hoped it was a joke, but yeah,
But
it's not.
I'm seeing it, and I'm
They're,
like,
they're
oh
dead
wow, this
serious.
this
Yeah,
doesn't make
it's
any like. Who cares?
yeah,
Who
it's
cares
like,
about this person that
what?
dies in the movie?
Yeah, who's asking for this? That's
It's
what
like
I
you ever
don't get.
wanted to know the backstory of Bambi's mom? No.
Right, exactly. No one asks, no one cares. And then, I heard someone comment. Because I follow a lot of animators on LinkedIn, and one of them commented about it. It's like, look, it's not made for me, you know, um, but more power to you, right? Wish you all the best. And I thought that was a nice way to put it. Like, he's not gonna trash it or anything. But someone commented, that the what they've heard in the industry, in the circles that they were, is that it was the goal is to try and make it sort of in the vein of a Godfather too, right? And I thought,
What?
okay, I get
I don't
that.
understand.
Well, Godfather 2 had the flashback to sort of was it Don Corleone and his when he was a young man, and all this kind of
Okay,
stuff, the
I
old
see.
country and how he came over, and it flashes back and forth to the present and back to the to kind of show sort of where the Godfather sort of his origins, right?
Right.
So, and it's like, oh, because we saw how became the son became the Godfather, right? But it's like, well, where did the Godfather, the one that preceded him, what was his story? So they did that, but that was kind of like, yeah, we were wondering this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there
Yeah.
was a thought out there, like, yeah, what's his story, right? Like, because he came from the old country, and how did he get over here? And what was
Right.
his, like, how did you rise to that kind of power? And they kind of show that in Backflash. So I
Right.
mean, flashbacks, and so there was a lingering question of sort of, yeah, like let's, plus they created this whole world, right, that you were kind of pulled into.
Yeah.
And they did a beautiful job, right? Godfather 2 is probably most people's fate. If you're a fan of the Godfather series,
Okay.
2 is probably your favorite because it was
Okay.
for me. So, but like in this case, I'm like, I don't see it. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody.
because it's
Nobody
the
can.
Lion King isn't perceived in that same manner as
No.
the Godfather, right? Like the Lion King, it wasn't necessarily about um, sort of who is Mufasa, right?
No.
But in Godfather, it was he was a man that you were like, yeah, who is this guy? How did he get to this level of power,
Hmm.
right? Like, what is he about? What drives him? They got him there because we saw him on the back on the other side where he's already gone through the trials and challenges, right? And he's achieved the power. So you are gonna say, okay, and then the next guy inherited the power basically, right? But now you
Right.
want to see, yeah, how did he work? Because it's hints at it in the first movie, right?
Right.
But with Lion King, it's not like that. Like Mufasa wasn't, Simba when I was a cub and I had to
Yeah.
blah blah. Like,
Nobody.
there
Yeah.
wasn't anything like that, right? And it wasn't really about you know this kingship per se. It was about Simba rising to the occasion,
Yeah.
right, and accepting his role and dealing with the guilt of losing his father and feeling that he was at fault, right, and then coming to realize that Scar tricked him, and
Yeah.
like that's all that is. It's very Shakespearean for sure.
Hmm.
But just say, oh, let's do origin of Mufasa. It's kind of like, well, why? Because he was killed in the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
So versus in the Godfather, he was still alive.
Yeah.
But like he was just retired.
Hmm.
There was still interest in how he's dealing with the present versus the past, right?
Right.
Like that's enough, and it was drawing contrast and parallels. But in this case, it's like, yeah, I don't. I mean, unless they're going to try and do that, like draw some kind of parallel with Simba, and they're going to flash back and forth, maybe
Right.
to
But even
current day
even then,
Simba
it's like
and but I don't know. I don't see. I don't. I don't see the interest in it. I don't think it's genuine,
no.
for
It's
sure.
no.
You
And
know what I mean, like, or
nobody
authentic.
cares. Nobody wants it. And Disney realizes that. That's why they're hiding. That's why they're hiding the comments. That's why they're
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
you
gotten
know
ratioed like big time.
yeah,
Yeah. Like,
because nobody wants
yeah.
this.
Nobody. No. And it's not even like the property itself. Like most people love
Yeah,
Lion
Lion
King.
King's a
It's
great movie.
one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah,
I mean, hands down. But I don't want more Lion King.
Yeah, it's like
You know, I'm like,
they
I
already.
just don't.
It's crazy because they already tried this with like Timon and Pumbaa, right? They did the Lion King 1.5. It's like
That's right.
you
And
wanted the
nobody cared
origin
about
story
that.
of
I
Timon?
mean,
No.
little kids liked it, right? They probably
Yeah,
watched. You know, something to get the kids and popping in the VCR at the time, right?
yeah.
You know, keep. But it's not something you're like, oh, I gotta get
It's like I
this.
don't want
Nobody
no.
cares. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of property, and that's, that goes to a whole other kind of overarching point, which is that not every IP is meant to be rehashed into tiny pieces, right?
Not
Of
everything needs a
reboots and
cinematic
sequels.
universe.
Yeah, yeah. It's like some things should be a one off.
Yeah,
Like Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water, right? That's a
yeah.
great movie. It's
Oh yeah.
beautiful.
I
It's
don't want a sequel
visually.
to it.
I don't want a sequel.
I
I
don't want
don't. It
more
doesn't
of it.
make sense.
It's fine the way it
Just
is.
and I'll be fair. They did Pacific Rim 2, right?
Yeah.
And I was excited
Right. But here's
until
the
I
thing
saw it, and I
Pacific
was
Rim
like,
2, like you said, they built a world out. They had, like, you know, like you could
right,
have more
it was,
Pacific
but
Rim with
at the
they
same
just
time, the nature of the movie, the first one, you got to admit, it's like, yeah, it probably shouldn't have been a sequel. Independence Day. I think
oh yeah,
Independence Day is a little
Independence
different
Day is probably the
because
worst offender. You did
yeah,
not need a
not,
sequel to
not, not
Independence Day.
because they made a second, but because they took so long to do it. But
Well,
at
no,
the
not
same
even just
time,
that. It's just
well,
like,
no, trust
what do
me.
you follow? What do you follow up with that?
Well, it's
Will
not even that.
Smith and
It's
the
right, but
cockroach dude blow up
they couldn't
aliens.
get Will Smith. That's what I'm saying, and they took too long, right, in development, trying to get it made, trying to get financing, and they finally did it. But and I think they got Chinese money, right?
Uh,
Hence, they rehashed the script and they had to include Chinese characters, and it's like it just
so
went
it was
from
the complete antithesis of the first
yeah, it
Independence
was
Day.
like it went from this creative endeavor of like, hey, let's do something really awesome where the world is invaded and what would we do, and it brings us all together, right?
Yeah,
And it's just another cash grab. And even though I know that it took years, well over a decade, right, to
yeah.
get to that sequel, it's like no one was really. We stopped asking for it after, so
Hmm. Yeah.
eventually we realized it's just not going to happen. It could have happened, right? And honestly, in my opinion, it should have, but it was like the lack of foresight in that case, right?
I
Um,
guess, yeah.
you know, but it's like they should have just left it alone, yeah, because now it could stand alone as this great, sort of iconic summer blockbuster movie, right?
For me, it still does because honestly, I forgot that
Yeah,
Independence
that's
Day
true.
2
It's
exists.
easy to forget that it's even a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, that kind of probably works in its favor because I definitely like even today. I'll still watch the first one. I'll
Oh
still,
yeah,
if I can
absolutely.
find it on a stream or something, and I have the
Welcome to
DVD.
Earth. Yeah,
I'll watch it. Yeah, I'll watch it because it's great. It's a great
yeah.
movie. But yeah, it's like some things should just be left alone. And Lion King is one of them. They already did the remake. I feel like that was a waste. I don't see the point.
There was no
I don't
point.
care about it.
There's no point of any of these
And
remakes.
it apparently it did well.
It did well because it was called The Lion King, but
Yeah,
nobody really
I
liked it.
agree. Yeah, it was the Lion
I
King,
can't think
and
of
you
one
had a
person
whole
who enjoyed it over the first movie.
right. It was just a rehash of the first movie, so it was pointless. It's like
Yeah.
Aladdin, right? Aladdin
It's not
was
like
it was like,
the
why are we doing this? Because I see it as, and this has always been my opinion, uh, in relation to this stuff, especially Disney, because Disney was built on animation, and that is, it's like animation is a step up, not a step down.
yeah.
And I think a lot of the popular perception among people is that it's a
They
step
think live
down
action
because
is
they
a
think
step
it's
up.
you're right. They think it's for kids, and I'm like, no. Animation is a step. It's an art and it's a craft, and it's probably, in my opinion, in the realm of entertainment, probably one of the highest things to aspire to be able to make images move
Yeah,
on screen that you created with your hands, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
animation is amazing to me, and there's no limits to it, right? It's completely unlimited, and so to take, to me, it's a step up to take a live action, and turn it into animation,
Yeah.
right? And then embellish on it, build on it, like go beyond the limitations of the live action, right?
Hmm.
Because even with CGI and everything, live action is still limited,
Yeah.
right? Because it breaks at some point because the CGI is going to pull you out and let you know, oh, this is animated. Because we
Yeah.
understand intuitively, like this is just impossible in the real world. So
Right.
this actor is not really jumping off this building.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this actor really isn't running through this explosion, right? Um, and that's fine. I mean, it's just reality, and I don't think that'll ever be not true, right? Like we'll always know because our brains just won't allow us to believe the impossible in that sense, the impractical. But in animation, it's like there's something about it, especially traditional animation, that our brains can kind of turn off a little bit. The desire for realism and
Yeah.
turn up the volume on escapism. And so we can look at animation and accept whatever. I think the heyday of Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, and all that stuff kind of proves that.
Yeah.
Where you had a lot of slapstick violence, right? The big man, mallet and all that kind of stuff, right? The anvils on the head, and you can suspend your disbelief and just enjoy it for what it is. And that's the beauty of animation versus live action. If you saw that stuff, even if the person survived, you'll go, oh, okay. Like it would be kind of a chuckle here and there, but I don't think it would be in the same manner. Like you can't repeat or replicate a Tex Avery cartoon in live action, in my opinion.
No.
You can try, it's possible,
Nobody is
but
asking
is it
for
going to
live
have the
action.
same? But that's what I mean. Is it going to have the same weight and
Yeah.
just entertainment value as a Tex Avery cartoon? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
That's why the when they did that Tom and Jerry movie, the the live action one, like
Yeah, yeah,
that didn't make any sense. It's like, why would you? Why, like, it's not even like the whole thing that Tom and Jerry were still animated, but everything else was live. It's like,
I know
just
it
make
makes
it
no sense.
animated,
Yeah, just make an animated movie. Exactly. It's like why are
even if
we
it's
trying to
3D animated. Just
combine live action with animation?
yeah, like in
Why?
this day and
What's the
age,
Unless
like
the goal is to break the fourth wall, right? That's fine, right? You can have fun. Like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, they broke the fourth wall a lot. So
right,
you
but
know
they
what I mean?
didn't
You
do
can kind
that.
of get away with it. But like Alvin and the Chipmunks and all this kind of stuff, it's like,
Yeah.
what are you guys doing? Just make
It's
it
like they
freaking
took
animation.
the I know, right? They took the wrong lesson from Rocky and Bullwinkle. It
They
was like,
did
yeah,
indeed, yes.
we gotta.
But yeah, it's frustrating to say the least. Give me a second. I'm going to mute myself, and I'll be right back.
No worries. But yeah, I'm curious to see what was your favorite, or what was a, because that was a pretty common movie trope right back in the day, the cartoon property interacts with the live action world, right? Alvin and the Chipmunks, they did it with Rocky and Bullwinkle. Fat Albert was one that I saw as a kid. Um, what was another one? Oh yeah, they did it with Woody Woodpecker. So I'm curious if there was which one was one that you grew up with. Oh, I guess they technically did do it with Looney Tunes. With the Looney Tunes Back in Action. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie, but much like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, it was constantly, but not more so, breaking the fourth wall. So, but yeah, it was just a yeah. I don't see why they would try to do that, try to bring back that trend in this day and age. It just doesn't work. So, and yeah, it's a little silly. But I'm curious if there was one, uh, if there is a one of those movies that you actually did enjoy. Leave it in the comments below if you can. And if there's a movie that you feel, if there's a movie that you feel like a live action movie that you think would work animated, uh, leave a suggestion in the comments below as well. I'm curious to hear what you see.
Hello, I'm back. Yes, please do. Let us know.
So I don't know if you heard, I proposed two questions. A, if there was because the whole let's bring the cartoon into the real world trope was a pretty popular
Yeah.
movie trope back in the day. Fat Albert,
Right.
Yogi
Yeah.
Bear,
Yeah.
whatever.
That's
So I
right. I
was
forgot about Yogi Bear. That's
yeah.
right. Oh my God, that
So
was
and then
terrible.
so I was yeah. So I was like, yeah, if you had one that you grew up with, leave it in the comments below. But also, if there's a movie, if there's a live action movie you think would work as an animated movie, leave that in the comments below as well.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Please. And I remember they did Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, but that so here's the thing. That wasn't Inspector Gadget from the cartoon jumping into the real world from the television. That was just a
Well, it
live
was
action interpretation of
right, but it's the same. It
it
wasn't
no I
great.
mean
I
you said
mean, it
what?
was good enough that they made two,
Oh yeah.
but they ended up recasting Matthew Broderick. Right, he didn't come back,
Oh that's right, yeah.
and I think they may have made three. There may have been another one, but then they probably put it out like as a direct to DVD family,
Yeah.
which
But
is fine.
that's a little
But I'm like,
different
I don't
though.
see the point. It's like just
But
make the cartoon.
yeah, I
Make
agree.
you know what I mean? Like update it,
Hmm.
do a cool
I get what you're
style.
saying.
Maybe do CGI. That's fine. But it's like why are we wasting time? I think part of it is sort of the underlying reason. Ultimately, animation is always more expensive. Especially good quality animation. It's always going to be more expensive than live action. Live action, even live action with CGI, right? VFX, is still more affordable compared to 100% animated because animation is an expensive endeavor. Because you're especially 2D because you're hiring people to create from literally from their mind, right? You're hiring their years of talent and skills and practice, and especially if you're going for a certain look, right?
Yeah.
And you find an artist, or a team of artists that can do that look, that feel, because animators are storytellers, you know uh,
Hmm.
true and true, they are. And it's like you need them to interpret that story, from their vantage point, so to speak, right? With their interpret it with their style, their vision. And yeah, it's just a very unique endeavor compared to to movies, live action, because live action is, well, we need a set. In a lot of studios they already have a set.
Yeah.
They already have the props, they already have the lights, they already have the cameras. You know what I mean? Like, it's all, everything's kind of in place, even if you got to do locations, right? um That's why indie filmmakers, what they call it, guerrilla filming, right? They could just
Oh
grab
yeah.
a camera and just go out to a location and just shoot, and just track the time of day for the lighting, and then as you make more money, you get more equipment, and it's like you can't do that on a shoestring budget, and that's the beauty of filmmaking in general, right? With live action, especially, right? But with animation, it's very unique because it is an expensive endeavor. It's very time consuming. So I understand, hey, let's interpret it live action because, hey, it'll be cool, right? Like they did Dick Tracy, right? Warren Beatty, that was
Yeah.
wonderful. I mean, that was probably one of the best adaptations to live action I've seen, and that was from the comics, not even from an animated
Right.
version, right? And it was awesome. I mean, to this day, I think it holds up as this really good cinematic accomplishment. So, just the visuals alone, let alone the performances, were great. It was just a lot of fun to watch. I
Mm.
loved it when I was young, when it came out. So, but yeah, it's you know that's my opinion. That's my 2 cents, right? My 2.5 cents is animation is superior. We should be aspiring to make more animation,
Yeah.
not more live action. In my opinion, if there's a property out there, whatever it is, um, it's live action. You should, and it's really good. You should want it to be interpreted into animation. Like, I would love to see the Matrix animated. Like they did the Animatrix,
Yeah.
and that was beautiful. That was some of the most beautiful animation I had
Yeah.
seen in
That
a long
was
time.
really cool.
and in different various styles, and it's like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much, it's such a rich, landscape. Uh, you can't go wrong. So but I would like to see Disney get back to animation versus, I mean, technically they are because Mufasa is all it's pretty much
Yeah,
animated. It's not,
it's animation. They
like
didn't
you can't
hire a real
live,
lion,
live action, yeah, but it's like it is
feed it a
all
bunch of peanut butter,
they're
and
just
make his mouth move.
leveraging the power of real time rendering and
Yeah,
photo real rendering, and
yeah.
they cross that uncanny valley, right? Where at least when it comes to animals and nature,
But
where
yeah.
it looks really, really real and beautiful.
Hmm.
And that's and while you have that, you also have the control, right? You can make Simba or the alligators or the birds do whatever you want them to do, right? They can talk and sound however you want them to sound. There's no like remember what was it called? Babe. Remember that movie?
Yeah,
Babe,
yeah, yeah. The one with
Pig
the
in the
pig.
City, something like that. Yeah, but those were real animals.
Yeah, yeah,
Like but and they had to do these little tricks. I remember seeing the behind the scenes, like they did certain things, like feed them a certain something to make their mouth move so you could talk and all this kind of stuff. And they had to
yeah, yeah.
train them and all this. It's like that's an expensive endeavor to train animals to get them to move and go where you want them to go.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there was probably hundreds of takes and do overs and all this stuff just to do that simple family film, right?
Yeah,
And the countless other animal based TV shows and movies throughout the years,
yeah,
right? But so this, Mufasa and the Lion King, making this what looks like live action, right? It's really just this, beautiful CGI fest, right? Um, it is phenomenal just from that standpoint. Like it's like, yeah, you have all
yeah,
this control and you still have the perception of realism in there, and that's cool. I used to be a big fan of photoreal rendering, right? 3D rendering. And I still am. I still love it. It's really awesome. It inspired me to get into 3D, right? Seeing all these beautiful photoreal renders from Blender and Unreal Engine, right? I think the Infiltrator was the first one I saw from Unreal Engine. That was amazing. That looked spectacular, right? Um, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, okay, great, it looks real. Good job, right? Like, but looking at like the last Ninja Turtles movie or the series they did, right, in that beautiful stylized animation,
yeah. I think.
you know what I mean? There's something to that, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's like animation. That's what I'm talking about, like especially 2D style animation. And I say 2D style because I know nowadays a lot of it is 3D, but it's rendered in cell shading
hmm,
to look 2D, and that's fine. I love, and that's the whole point. Like, think about that. You have the capability of rendering in 3D, photo real, and yet you still, or even Pixar level, right? And yet there's still artists who are like, nah, bro, I want that 2D look.
yeah,
So they're taking the best of 3D and still saying, let's make it 2D. Let's make it look like it's 2D because 2D is beautiful. It's a beautiful medium, right? So yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, that's where I stand. It's better.
well, that's just think it boils down to. I think art direction beats fidelity. I think in the sense that you know, like, and this is as an example to go back to like the '90s when the PlayStation came out, and the games that age the best aren't the ones that try to go for hyper realistic
Yeah,
graphics.
that's
It's the
excellent.
ones that had a clear art direction, right?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah,
yeah, like so Crash Bandicoot as a game looked a lot better than, for example, uh, Metal Gear Solid. Not that Metal Gear Solid looked bad, but if you zoom in on all the characters,
yeah.
all their faces are pixelated. Like they have no faces,
Right.
basically,
Yeah. The
right?
it falls apart at some point, right? The depth of field and the
Yeah,
level of detail
Right.
is lost. Versus a Crash Bandicoot doesn't have to really worry about that, right?
Yeah, that's
Because
not just
it's like you
no.
said, it's art directed, it's stylized,
Yeah,
and there's a certain look and feel, and like I said, the brain expects. So even if it breaks down at some point, you're like, well, it's okay. It's stylized. It's
yeah,
not supposed to have this high fidelity as opposed to a
yeah,
Metal Gear Solid, which that's kind of what they're hanging their hat on is that high fidelity, right?
yeah. And I
And
feel like that still applies today, right? The game,
yeah,
like yeah, things can look hyper realistic, right, nowadays, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be memorable. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and that goes into not just the art direction, but the storytelling as well, right? Like
Hmm.
it becomes this sort of beautiful marriage where the visual cues help to drive the great
Yeah,
story, right? And
like one
yeah,
thing I appreciate about what's it called, the Final Fantasy VII remake,
yeah,
and people might feel differently about it, but even though like it's high fidelity, there's still a clear art direction, and all of the main characters still look stylized, right? They don't just look like, you know,
I know that's a good point.
actors.
That's
You know
one
what
of
I'm
the things
saying?
I
Like
enjoyed about
Cloud
it.
still looks like
It
Cloud.
looks
He
like
still
Cloud,
looks
yeah.
like
That's a
you know
very
what I
good
mean? He
point.
looks
As
like an anime
hyper
character
real as it got, they stayed true to those character
to the
design.
style. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. That's one of
and
the
I
things
feel
I
like
like.
Final Fantasy has always kind of kept that in the games, at
Yeah,
least,
been pretty
where
consistent.
they go for a high fidelity, but they still keep the stylization of,
Yeah,
yeah, this is a
and that's important. You're right because
JRPG.
it matters, right?
Yeah.
It's integral to the characters now at this
Hmm.
point. Right? That's how you recognize it. That's how you engage with them. So yeah, that's a very good point. And it's funny you bring that up because then there's Kingsglaive, like that came out around the same time they did this movie,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it was like if you were a fan of photoreal 3D rendering, right? That's the movie for you. It's a gorgeous looking movie, right? It really is. Story wise, it's meh. Until like the third act and have the big fight.
right.
But up to that point, it's like okay. Like I think I liked Advent Children better, and that came out a couple
Yeah,
decades before, and
yeah,
it still looked really cool for the time. Even now, it still kind of holds up pretty well.
yeah. It really it held up better than I expected,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. But the story was, in my opinion, was better in that one than Kingsglaive. So,
No, that's
but I
crazy.
like how Kingsglaive segues into the game at the end, right? He's Cloud is driving or whatever.
Hmm.
But other than that, yeah, it was kind of like, I guess it was okay, right? But visually, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
Yeah,
It was like, wow, like this is pretty cutting edge. But
yeah,
it's like it's not enough though. You got to have a great story. You got to have great characters. Just having high fidelity graphics is just a piece of the puzzle. You know. So, but yeah, man, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day and tune out and go ahead and end the stream now. Once again, it was a pleasure talking to you, talking about our favorite things and some of our least favorite things. And want you guys out there to make it a wonderful day. Enjoy your Saturday.
absolutely. We'll see you around.